Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome to another edition of Inside Arsenal. It is Sunday, and Arsenal were beaten overnight, losing 2-0 to Manchester United in New Jersey in their second game of their pre-season tour of the United States. So we're going to pop on today, have a little bit of a chat about what happened last night, look at some of the key incidents, and look at what Mikel Arteta had to say afterwards, which was a pretty disappointing night. Now, I did get home. I said yesterday I was in London, so I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to watch the game or not. But I did get home in time to watch it. I managed to stay awake because I think I probably did fall asleep for about 10 minutes or so in the second half. But other than that, I managed to stay awake despite a fair amount of drinks yesterday at Flight Club where I went to for my mate's leaving do in Victoria. First time been there, lots of fun. Thoroughly recommend it. But yeah, if I'm struggling a bit today, sound a bit croaky, then yeah, I'm not exactly 100% feeling 100% this morning, but still wanted to pop on and have a quick chat about this. It's a bit of a quick one because we've got to rush out some family stuff to go to today. So a bit of a quick one today. We won't take any your questions at the end, but please do reply to anything you hear or see in this video and with your comments below, and I'll get over to them in tomorrow's edition. So please do. Anything agree with, disagree with me, let me know. So yeah, it was a disappointing night for Arsenal over in New Jersey, losing 2-0 to Manchester United. Two really poor goals to concede defensively. Two real big errors. Aaron Ramsdale was beaten by Bruno Fernandes's shot after a half hour to make it 1-0, and then really poor error from Gabriel. Just totally missed his kick basically and let Jadon Sancho run away. It was a good finish by Sancho, but sort of let him just run clear basically from just inside his own half, and he thumped to finish. Good finish past Aaron Ramsdale. Couldn't really do anything with that one, but two big costly errors for Arsenal, and they were punished for them. There wasn't much else in the game between the sides, I don't think. Arsenal's lined up. You see the team, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see it in front of me in that sort of 4-3-3 that we come to expect. Timber started on the right-hand side of the back four with Saliba, Gabriel and Tomiyasu was preferred to either Kivior or Tierney at left back in midfield. We had Declan Rice starting in the sort of sixth position with Odegaard and Havertz in front of him. And then you had Eddie as a central striker with Martinelli and Saka either side. I thought Arsenal had started well and they were a better team for the first half hour. I thought they were the most likely to score. They should have scored. But Gabriel Martinelli missed two good chances. Actually, it was a double save by Tom Heaton, but Martinelli had to be scoring that. It was a nice little move down the right by Arsenal. Cut the ball back into the area. I mean, Martinelli unmarked 12 yards out. Just he had to do better. He didn't, and then the follow-up again was too close to Heaton, who saved it. And that was a big moment. It wasn't soon after that United went in front, and was pretty against the run of play when United did go in front. But it's just sort of poor in both boxes. Mikel often talks about that. We've got to be better in both boxes, and that was a sort of classic example of it. Should have gone ahead at one end of the pitch, and then a mistake at the other, and suddenly you're 1-0 down. And Sancho made it two I think it was about 7 minutes later. So it was a quick fire double really from Arsenal, and they never really looked like they were going to get back into the game. Sort of that classic cliche of huffed and puffed. And Eddie had a good chance in the second half from a quickly taken free kick, smart little pass by Odegaard that sort of caught Man United out. But Eddie, I don't know if it was a shot. I think it was a shot, but it was almost sort of caught in two minds of either shooting or cutting the ball back to a couple of players who were free in the centre, and it kind of did neither really, and it just rolled an effort wide at a post. And I think that was really the closest Arsenal came to getting back in the game. Smith Rowe had a header really late on that was kind of deflected wide. That I think that was in injury time or in the final minute. But other than that, I mean, you're looking at the stats here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see them in front of you as 11 shots to 8 in Man United favour. Arsenal had 4 on target. United only had 3. Arsenal dominated possession, really 55%. They had 453 passes to United's 382. Pass accuracy was higher. United had more fouls, which was pretty evident. United were, how should we say, they were definitely very physical. That was winding up Arsenal a little bit, winding up Mikel Arteta on the touchline a little bit. He did speak about it after the game, but was like, look, it's a competitive match. This is going to happen. But you could tell Arsenal weren't exactly happy with some of the treatment dished out by United in that game. There was one incident when Martinez went in. It was a bad tackle on Bukayo Saka. Sort of started a little bit of a melee. Odegaard went in and had a word, and it all sort of kicked off a little bit. And it was beginning to boil over. Arsenal were just getting frustrated at some of the treatment, but it was a clear tactic from United. I think they wanted to be physical. They wanted to try and get in Arsenal's faces, and full credit to them. They did that, and they won the game. Largely because of that, because they just seemed to unsettle Arsenal a little bit. Speaking after the game, this is what Mikel had to say. He said, having a tough match of this level in this context gives you a lot of information, and that's always very positive. The information is obviously there are a lot of things we have to improve, how important the boxes are, that errors are part of football. You have to overcome them as well, and how painful it is to lose a game. Physically, it's been super, super demanding. Some players, we want to expose them a little bit more than they have done because the way we want to build them, their physical state. Overall, they had their moments when they were so efficient. We had ours when we had more dominance, and we certainly tried again in the second half. Tried again in the second half, but the chances we had, we didn't convert them, and they won the game. And yeah, I mean, there was definitely, it wasn't massive gulf between the sides by any means. It could have gone either way. If Arsenal got that first goal, I think they go on and win the game, but Martinelli misses. And then down the other end of the pitch, Fernandes scores after that Ramsdale mistake. And once United were in front, you kind of got the impression that it wasn't going to change, that Arsenal never looked like they really had that belief to get themselves back into it. And so, yeah, I mean, we've got 3 preseason games now, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Barcelona to come on Thursday morning at 3:30 UK time in the morning. That one against Barcelona over in LA at the SoFi Stadium will be the last one before they start heading back to the UK. Then they have Monaco, Community Shield, and then the Premier League gets underway. Last night was the first time we saw that sort of midfield trio that you kind of look at and think that might well be Arsenal's starting 3 for a lot of the games they have next season, or that's certainly the plan to be the midfield 3. It didn't exactly. I mean, it wasn't great. There's not really much more to say about it. They didn't. I thought Rice started brightly, was getting himself on the ball, and then kind of faded a little bit. Odegaard. I mean, Odegaard, it was that nice little pass, a clever little pass to set up the chance for Eddie. But other than that, he was, again, in and out of the game. Havertz didn't really make an impact at all. And so Mikel was asked about the 3 of them after the game and how he thought they did as a trio. And he said, when they play 55 times together, they will be better. It will flow better. They will understand each other better and will be more dominant and better. But it takes time to glide. And we have to respect that. But I saw a lot of positive things, and things I like much more than the game we won the other day against MLS, even though the result is very different. I think that sort of midfield 3 as well, we're going to have to accept that it is going to take a while to gel together. Last season you had that 3 in midfield that they knew each other, they played together for a while. You had, Partey, Xhaka and Odegaard. It was a really key part of that team. And now suddenly 2 of those players, by the looks of it, aren't going to be playing or aren't going to be starting in most of the games, because we think this is probably going to be the 3 that we're seeing. And it's getting, it's a brand new midfield basically. And they're going to have to get used to each other, and Arsenal are going to have to get used to how it works in terms of, the attackers. Before, Martinelli probably knew exactly what Partey was going to do when Partey got on the ball. He knew exactly where Xhaka was going to go. Now suddenly he's got to adjust to different things, and they all do. And so I think it is going to take a little bit of time. We might see Arsenal looking not exactly like that sort of well-oiled machine that they were last season early on, and because they're going to have to get used to each other, and it does take time to gel, as Mikel Arteta said there. But with the demands of the Premier League, we can't let it take too long. They've got to hit the ground running pretty soon, because you in this league you have a sort of 2, 3, 4 game bedding in period, and the points get dropped, then suddenly you're already a long way behind, and it's almost impossible to catch up, as we saw last season, because the top teams like Manchester City are just relentless when it comes to winning games. It was quite interesting up front. Balogun didn't make it on the pitch at all, which is quite interesting. I was surprised, but he didn't. It was Eddie sort of got the nod up front, and he started, and Balogun just didn't come on. And here he is before the game. If you're watching, you see him with his 2 other fellow Americans in Austin Trusty and Matt Turner, who linked up with the squad over in New Jersey. And Mikel was asked about it afterwards. Said we had some options up front and we wanted to load some players. That's why some players today didn't have any exposure, but they will in the next game. So when he says load some players, he means get minutes into their legs and get them ready for the season. So I presume that's what he means. Well, he wanted to get a good amount of time into Eddie's legs. He wanted to get more time into Gabriel Jesus's legs, who came on in the second half. But he does say they will in the next game. So I fully expect Balogun could potentially start that match against Barcelona. Now, I'd be surprised if he doesn't, because, well, I don't know. Actually, when I say I'd be surprised if he doesn't, I'm kind of second guessing myself there, thinking about it, because I still, as I've said many times, realistically, I still think Balogun's probably going to go this summer, and I imagine Mikel Arteta might be thinking that as well. And so, does he really want to put minutes into the legs of a player that he probably thinks is going to go this summer? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it certainly seems like he will play. Whether he'll start it remains to be seen. But what Mikel says there, they will in the next game. It certainly points to the fact that he is going to be involved in that one. I think it's an important game now, that Barcelona one, because you don't want to come back from the US having lots back-to-back games. There was a lot of positives to take from the MLS game. It was a good win, lots of goals, everything was nice. But now suddenly Arsenal have lost, and they didn't play well. And you don't want that to go sort of back to back. So I think they've got to respond in this Barcelona game, and sort of try and pick up some sort of momentum again, because we saw how important that was last summer. Pre-season is important. Mikel puts a lot of sort of faith in pre-season. He knows how important it is, and he wants his team to get some momentum. So he wouldn't want to suffer back-to-back wins. Ultimately, it is only pre-season, so results aren't the be-all and the end-all. But as we saw last year, it's really, really beneficial to have a good summer, and that you can really take that momentum into a Premier League season. So I think that Barcelona game now is going to be really, really key. And Arsenal are going to go into it, and I think they're going to want to prove a little bit of a point. Bukayo Saka was speaking after the game yesterday, and he said it hurt. He said that, it's only pre-season, but it hurt. I've got the quotes up here that I'm just looking at. And he said it's obviously tough to take, whether it's a friendly or not against United. We'll learn from it, and you can't really give 2 goals away like that against a team like this, because it's really hard to come back. We just need to learn from it. Physically, we want to get to a level where we were last season, and then go to another level to keep increasing that. Tactically, we need to integrate everyone. We need to understand our game plan and how we play, and keep progressing in each game, so that when it comes to the first game, that we will be ready. Even he talks about it there, integrating the new players. It is, it's a really important part this summer, because you just cannot afford to take too long over it. They've got to start understanding everyone. Everyone has to build up that relationship that was so crucial to Arsenal last season. Was that relationship between everyone? Everyone knew where each other was. They knew what runs everyone was making, and that made them that really excellent team that we all saw last season. And if it's going to be a little bit disjointed early on because of the new arrivals and bedding in this new midfield, then that cannot be allowed to go on for too long. They've got to get everyone adjusted and ready, as Mikel said, and as Bukayo Saka said there. And most importantly, you cannot just give 2 silly goals away like you did yesterday. Aaron Ramsdale will fully know that he should have saved the first chance, and then Gabriel just, it was a howler, basically. And yeah, the result ended up with 2 goals being scored against Arsenal. Sort of player ratings wise, there was no great numbers. I thought I gave Ramsdale a 4. Timber was 7. I actually thought Timber was bright. He was probably Arsenal's brightest spot. He looked good, especially early on. Got a little bit isolated at times down the right-hand side, but looked good on the ball. I gave him a 7. He was, I thought, Arsenal's standout man. I gave Saliba a 7 as well, because although Arsenal were pretty poor defensively, it wasn't really down to Saliba. I thought he looked really comfortable. So I gave him a 7. I gave Gabriel a 6. Tomiyasu a 6. Rice a 6. Odegaard a 5. Havertz a 5. Saka a 6. And Nketiah a 4. Martinelli a 5. And then subs came on: Tierney, White, Partey, Jesus, Trossard, Smith Rowe, and Vieira. Out of the lot of them, I gave Tierney the highest mark, 6. I thought he looked quite bright when he came on, as he has done in his last couple of games, actually. When he's come on, Tierney certainly given everyone a little bit of a reminder of the good player he is, even if Arteta seems to be looking at pretty much everyone else as a potential starting left back over him. All right, that's it from me. Bit of a short one, as I said today, but thank you very much for watching or listening, and do have a very good end to your weekend wherever you are around the world. And I'll be back tomorrow. And like I said at the start of this, please do let me know what you thought of the game, the positives, negatives, whatever. Leave some comments below, and I'll add a few more of your questions in tomorrow, because I haven't been able to have time to do it today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will speak to you very, very soon.